Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Triple Triad podcast, the show with hot takes and even hotter decks. I'm your host, Emo Tempest, and today we have two very exceptional players. You might be familiar with their work over the weekend at Zanarkand, Return to Spira. We have the winner, the grand champion, Gessi Hurd, aka Convoy Avenger, aka Harry Dwarf. Gessi, say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
And also undefeated in Swiss, Sergio Bravo, aka TCG Titans, aka Kamakura, and the biggest FF7 fanboy I know. Sergio, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we have a pretty exciting... first of all, I'm really happy you guys took the time to join me today. And obviously, congratulations to both of you. Gessi winning and Sergio getting top 4. Would have loved to see actually you two and maybe JG. We were like my closest buddies that were playing. So I was rooting for all three of you. So it would have been fun for me to have you all on at the top, in the top 2. So let me see.
I was the
Go ahead.
Canadian rep.
Yeah.
So I was the Canadian rep.
And if you guys
did
don't
what I could.
Yeah. Sergio's here from
I
South
was
Florida.
rooting for you, though, man.
I know, me too. I was also rooting for me. But playing Octagon for less than 2 weeks seems like, I would say, is an excuse. But I don't know. I think Jesse's was playing it even less time than that. Am I right?
I started that morning.
So there you have it, guys.
There goes your excuse.
There goes my excuse.
Yeah, no excuse.
Exactly. So, guys, we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to pick your brains. For everyone listening, please, don't forget to hit that like button and smash that sub button if you want more of these. And as cliche as that was, we'll move away from it now. I'm going to start off with Gessi. First of all, Gessi, again, one more time, I want to say congratulations. Let's talk about the day, right? Starting, I understand this was technically your first online tournament, right? So what were some of your thoughts going into this? And what made you take Wind Ice for it?
It's first online tournament, first big tournament in a very long time since COVID lockdowns. I was extremely nervous going into it because I'm so out of practice. The only reason I brought Ice Wind is because my friend Shane talked so highly of it. Basically said, "Oh yeah, I win with it all the time." He's so confident. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll try it. I'll O2 scrub out and then swap decks. It was planned for the day. But then I just kept winning. I was like, all right, well, this is going well. Maybe I can bring it to the top. And then I just kept it in for the whole day.
So prior to that, did you have any experience playing Wind Ice?
No. Not really.
Okay. And then
not this version of the deck anyway.
All right. And your standings? What was your final record again for the day?
My Swiss was 4-2.
4-2. What do you remember your losses? What you lost to?
I lost to Dragoons. Haste is definitely problematic for the deck, and I did lose to one Pirates list.
One Pirates list. Okay. All right. This is pretty interesting. What do you think? All right. So before we continue, actually, could you tell me your other matchups? So we have Dragoons. We have one Pirates. Do you remember the other 4, at least in Swiss?
Yeah, I think I played 3 Pirates on the day on Swiss. I have screenshots. Let me check them really quick. So round 1, Pirates.
Okay.
Round 2 was Samurais. Round 3, the game did not go well for my opponent. It was also Pirates. Round 4 was Dragoons, which I lost. Round 5 was Pirates, which I lost. And then round 6 was an interesting mono water deck that was using like Mind Flayers and I don't know what he was trying to do, but he didn't do much.
Oh man, that's strange. That should have been what I was playing. Yeah, Mono Water was my second deck choice. Okay, that's all very interesting. Sergio, I know this is not your first online tournament. You actually do very well. I've seen you top a bunch and win a couple. Am I right?
This is my first time playing like a 1 day tournament on Octagon where like I actually did okay. I haven't done one in a while where I had like prep for it like I did this time, but I was playing in the leagues, so I topped League of Light and Cure Series this season.
Okay.
So that was pretty exciting, but it's very different because you play like once a week, and you schedule out your games. And you have like a long time in between the rounds, whereas this was all like a 1 day jam session, which was felt very different for sure.
Okay, and were the other ones? I assume there was no time, right? You guys just play and you figure out a match, like you figure out a winner and that's
Correct.
it. Right. Okay.
Yeah, in the leagues there's no time. You just play, and some of those games go quite long actually, because usually they do best of three when you get to Top Cut. So it's like best of three, untimed. You take half the day to finish your games.
So you kind of answered it, but or you kind of touched on it. But my next question and follow up for both of you guys. Actually, I'll start with Sergio here. Is what did you do to prepare for this? Like, it's obviously different than you did for the other events, but for Zanarkand specifically.
Yeah, so for this one specifically, I test with another member of the Triple Triad podcast, Mr. Andy Carmona, who is quite noticeably absent.
Yes,
it's definitely going to affect the ratings. But Andy and I, we test a lot together on Octagon, and I tested with a few of the other locals as well. And we had put a lot of games into the set, and then the bans hit. So then 2 days leading up to the event, the last 2 days where we were choosing, I kept jamming the decks now, like minus the ban cards. So just a lot of like practicing on Octagon late night sessions. It's really my prep.
Okay, Gessi, what about you? I know you said you started that the night before, right? Or for on Octagon, but what did you do to prep for this?
Well, not nearly as much. We had some friends come over on Friday to play some board games.
Okay.
One of those friends just happens to like playing Final Fantasy, so they spent the night, and Saturday morning I handed her a deck, and I shuffled up the Ice Wind deck, and we played some games, and I crushed her a whole bunch. I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And then a couple hours later, the event started.
The good old confidence booster the night before. Those are actually two very strong strategies, actually. And it's one of the ones I follow, actually. I don't play any cards the night before. I play other stuff for a tournament anyway. And to answer Sergio, unfortunately, Andy Carmona cannot be here tonight. He is working. It's very difficult to get 3 people's scheduled up together. It's getting harder and harder every time, so it's kind of why I don't do these as often. But I wanted to, since I knew both of you, and I was very happy to celebrate, Gessi winning and Sergio getting out of Swiss. I had to bring you guys on and record this. So the next question I'll start with Gessi here, is the bans, right? This was a big thing. I personally didn't see this coming, right? I was building my decks for the first week of Opus 15 or whatever, Crystal Dominion, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll start throwing Stern and Masquerade into my decks, right? And then, well, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 days before Zanarkand we get hit with these bans?
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It was definitely just like on the Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, right? It was, instead of a card of the week, they hit us with the bans. Gessi, did that affect your deck choices at all, or were you not even set on something by then?
I was pretty set on the list by that point, just because I didn't have anything else to fall back on. It was running 2 Munes, and I had to replace 3 cards. So I don't remember. Did we ban was a forward besides Stern banned? I don't remember.
The Dogas were banned, and then the Sophies were limited to 1.
Okay, so maybe that didn't impact it. Maybe I just cut a card. So I was running one of Celeste, the new Celeste.
Yeah, we saw that. I think that's the only Opus 15 card you were running, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I've made changes since to add some more. I just didn't want to mess with the formula too much. So there's 2 immunes under Shane's tutelage. He said it wasn't a big deal, so I threw in some white mages, just some activation white mages. In retrospect, I might have played the new Rem instead, just to throw some more Opus 15 in there.
Very good card, actually. I love that card.
Yeah, I like it as well. I haven't tested with it or anything, but I like the words on it. Want to try out the new Cane and the new Edge. Which has some protections. Yeah, if I were to run the tournament again tomorrow, my deck would definitely have some changes in it.
Okay. Sergio, what about you? How I know you said you were testing a lot, so was the bans a big surprise for you? Did it change what you were going to play from beginning to end, or at least change your lists? Because I know we could switch decks between them. I believe Gessi didn't switch at all, but I know you and I had pocket other decks. So
Yeah, so the bans definitely threw a big monkey wrench in my plans. So we had tested a lot, and then we read the ban list, and all my decks were now illegal, like all of them. So that was a big confusion for me on like what to run and everything. And I had already been pretty set like with the Sky Pirates, but in the deck I was running 1 copy of Stern and 3 copies of Mew.
right.
So it made me really worried about like what I was gonna like whether that was gonna affect the list very much or not. But Wind has so many good backups that like none as good as Mew in these slots, but all good backups anyways. So that wasn't too big of a loss. And then the Stern honestly was just there like as protection from board clears. That's his main job, I think, in any list where you had him. And so for me, I just ended up switching him out to my one of Vishtola for the same job, just to protect the Pirates from board clears.
Okay. So actually, Sergio, did losing Mune affect the Sky Pirates a lot? Could you tell us a little bit about that? What are your thoughts there?
Yes, definitely. Like Mune is a super powerful card, and in this kind of list, you can use it to like accelerate your backup position. You can use it to bounce back some of these like really good like forwards that have like nice on entry abilities. So like for me, Zidane, right? Opus 3 Zidane is still one of the craziest cards in the game. So being able to like play that, then play the Mew to pick it up and draw and continue building while affecting your opponent's hand is just incredible. And then it also gives you the option to pick up 6 CP Von so that you can replay him and do his effect again. And you kind of always have the resources for that because Von like untaps all your backups, then you do the Mew, get Von back, draw a card. So the whole thing is so free that it's just absurd. So yes, that definitely affects the deck, but it's still very good. I think obviously the win backups, like I was saying before, are just so many good win backups that I ended up putting in like Chocolate. I put in a Stiltskin to search for kites. And I think the last change was like another Nordstalin to kind of just fill those spots. So it still flows great. It's just, it's not as strong as if it had the Mew in it.
All right. And do you think... so you obviously didn't switch decks, right? You and I were talking. You didn't need to, right? Even with all the changes? Like, you felt good about the list.
Yeah. I tested it like the 2 nights before, for not even for that long because I had to work that week, but I ended up playing for like an hour on Thursday and Friday each, and I tested the list with the new changes, and it still felt great. So I stuck with it, and I played it through the whole tournament, and I never switched off the deck. It's just always felt great.
Okay. Gessi, same for you, right? You didn't switch throughout the whole tournament.
No, I didn't. The plan was if I started to lose, I was going to switch, but I didn't start losing till round 4, and I was like, well, I'm not going to switch now. I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
So I just stuck with it.
What was your second deck? What was your other option?
I threw together a wind, earth, crystal focused deck. And I'm glad I didn't play it because it was not prepared for pirates at all. It would have folded to pirates.
Oh man. Sergio, what was your
It
second
had a
one?
lot of like single target removal and 0 way to answer a board.
I assume you played Shantotto, right? Like, was that the only?
It has a 1-0.
As a 1-0, okay.
It's not enough.
Oh, okay. Sergio, what was your second deck?
The backup deck that I had was my Versatile deck. It takes a big loss from losing the Stern, but it's still quite good, and it's also good against Sky Pirates because there's a lot of discard in there.
Okay.
So you kind of like disrupt them from being able to set up. So that's my backup deck.
Okay. Yeah, and for me too, I went in with Word Lights. I was on stream twice. I don't think they realized that they put me on stream twice. They had because the first time they put me as FF Choco Meteor, which is my handle on what's it called, Octagon, and then they put me as Emo Tempest on round 4. So I was like, I don't think you guys, I didn't think they connected the dots right away, or maybe they did, but it is all good. My second deck was going to be Water that I hadn't tested. It was pretty much my makeshift Water light deck that's with a lot of EX burst, and I just added the Mind Flayers to it. I really didn't have time to test another deck, so it is what it is. I got stuck playing 3 Samurai decks, or 3 Mono Fire decks, which all had the Amaterasus. I lost to, what was the Earth players? Day? Right? The Monk player? Die.
Yeah, he was on Monks.
Shout out to Die.
I don't know if it's Die or Day. I'm pretty sure it's Die.
I think it's Die too. No, shout out to Die. Great guy. And then, I didn't even play my last one because I was X3 by round 5, so I was like, it's alright. We can move on though. Gessi, what was the worst deck you played against? Like, what was the, like, whether it was the win or the loss, right? What was the toughest matchup you had?
I think Dragoons have crazy tempo plays. Like I couldn't get my feet under me, and if I started to make a comeback at all, he just beat me back down. And it was just a matter of him drawing any one of his like 15 hasters in the deck to close the game out. That was the biggest struggle match for me.
Was it a Wind Dragoon deck? Because I think there was one in top, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lunar. I played Lunar in Swiss, and then he also topped.
Right. That deck did look interesting. Actually, I should have actually brought this up before we talked. I wanted to take a look at all the decks, but while I do that, Sergio, same question for you. What was the toughest thing you played, and whether it was the win or the loss?
Yeah, I mean, the Mirrors actually ended up being, which was my top 4 match against KP, was definitely the most difficult matchup because Sky Pirate Mirror is awful. Like, when Vaughn and Balthier are out at the same time, like, every target activates 2 backups and then allows them to pump. So it's almost impossible to interact with any of the boards in a positive way. Like, you can't even really do Leviathan stuff because they can then activate and pump the guy that you're going to try to kill. And then anything you're targeting is just going to keep activating and pumping and activating and pumping. So also, like, Bismarck, which you use a lot to like kill stuff, becomes useless for killing. So that was definitely the hardest matchup to navigate. And if you check my games with KP, like, game 1 was like I did that to him, and game 2 was he did that to me, and then game 3 was obviously just the one that went to time. But yeah, that was definitely complicated, and you just stare at the board and be like, I can't do anything. I need to just wait.
I don't know why, but as you were telling me the scenario, the only thing I could think of is adding Halicarnassus to this list. Is that something you'd consider?
I kid you not, I'm actually going through someone's collection right now who wants to sell it to me, and I flipped a page through the Opus 7 Heroics, and Halicarnassus was staring me in the face, And I thought, man, I really wish I had this in the deck on Saturday.
See, I don't, man.
I don't know if I'd ever play it. I don't know if it would still be good, but yes, it would have been quite nice because it doesn't target.
Yeah, and I believe it blinks everything, right?
Triggering anything. It does, yeah.
Yeah, that's a... You guys heard it here first. If you hadn't thought of it, Hallie Carnassus for the mirror matches. I think
Emo Tempest tag right there.
Yeah. And for me as well, it's funny too. I think the last thing I really didn't expect to see samurais come out as many as I saw. Right, like I ran into 3. I only beat the first one, and that was, I think, pure luck. But do you guys think samurais are coming back now, full fledged? Like, is this a thing? I'll start with Sergio.
I don't know if I would say Samurais is coming back. I definitely think Samurais is always a pretty safe choice because it has good removal, it has access to Amaterasu, and you have a good draw engine in Tenzin. So it has all the things you need, but it doesn't really have anything that's like totally unfair. So it's a good choice for like a situation where you don't know what people are going to be playing. But I don't know if I would say it's back as like a top tier contender. I can say that in my matchup it was pretty clean in favor of the Sky Pirates, and he had Tenzin on the board for like 5 or 6 turns from turn 1.
Oh wow!
Because that's also that's hard to answer for this deck. Like there's not really like maybe Typhon would be the only thing. But if you're in the process of setting up, it's more important to set up and get your Pinello out because you'll actually, over time, you'll outdraw them more with Pinello than they will with Tenzin.
Right. Gessi, what do you think? Because I think you played 1, right? You mentioned?
Yeah, I played him in Swiss and again in Top Cut. Same guy. I don't really keep the temperature on the meta very much, but I think... For him, anyway, because I was talking to him about it, I think Samurais was just his like safe fallback plan sort of thing. Like if you don't have time to prepare, Samurais can do things, right?
Right.
But it might not be like tier 1 anymore.
Now, Gessi, going over the top, I'll send this link to you guys now if you guys don't have it up, by the way. I just want to go over the top 8 list with you guys really quick. It's very diverse, right? It's definitely something we haven't seen in a while. I know for a while, every time we looked up something, it was either Doga or Monks or Verstale, right? Like those were the ones, and Chocobos, right? Chocobos were the big boogeyman's. And surprisingly, other than Monks, I don't think we're seeing any of that stuff. So my question to you is, Gessi, is this a... I know you said you don't technically follow too much of the meta yet, but is this a relief for you? Were you happy not to see any of those decks there?
Yes, I think that probably led me to my victory a little bit while people were stumbling around trying to figure out what they were going to play because their favorite pet deck was banned. I was just like, yeah, playing this, and I'm not affected. So I think a lot of the top 8 is probably representative of people scrambling more so than meta forming. And I think if another event is run in a couple of weeks, we'll probably find it'll get narrowed down to a top few again. But I'm glad I didn't have to deal with Sophie, and I'm glad I didn't have to deal with Stern, because both of those decks seem very depressing and repressive and not a good time.
And so I don't know how many Wind Ice there was, but obviously JG, right? Because I think you guys are both on the same list.
I think his list is similar. I don't think
similar. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought one of you had told me it was the same or something like this, but
I probably assumed it was, but I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, that is his safe pick. Is this a Canadian thing, the Ice Wind?
I mean, maybe. I mean, subconsciously, possibly. I think it's because I know why Shane built the deck, because his It's just because of his meta, his local meta has a bunch of. He's got Sky Pirates and Chocobos and stuff like that, so he abuses Barrel Eye to deal with his local meta. And it just so happened to be advantageous for me to bring to this event because I had to deal with a lot of wide boards.
And sorry, I had a question and then it just disappeared. I'll move to Sergio actually in the meantime. Sergio, was it refreshing to see this this meta, this new like top 8?
Yeah, definitely. It was totally different than what we've seen over the last couple weeks with like the end of the Opus 14 meta, where there was really only a couple decks, and anything that was different still had like Stern in it, anyways. So this was definitely weird. So like when I started, I was waiting for my top 8 matchup when they sent me the list out, and I looked at it, and it was like Wind, Lightning, Dragoons. I was like, okay, this is not what I expected of. So it was refreshing to see the new decks come out. But I agree. I think if we see another event, if there were an event like this next weekend, I think the list would be totally different. I think there's a lot of like unexplored space in Opus 15, which isn't called that, but I'm going to call it that. So I think there's definitely a lot of stuff there that we didn't see in this top cut. Like you look at it, like my deck has like a high percentage of Opus 15 cards just because it's the Sky Pirates that fit that deck. But the rest is all pretty familiar territory. Like the Monks deck, for example, is literally just the Monks deck with Rydia and the new Cecil. So I definitely think we'll see a lot of new stuff going forward.
Okay. And I remember my question for Gessi is actually do you, Shane, and JG not all play Harry Tarantula? That's the only one I know, so.
I'm not with them. I'm not in their location.
Oh, really?
JG's in Ottawa, Shane's in Toronto, and I'm all by myself on the little island off the East Coast.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. So I really don't know, like, I didn't know in the relation where you guys were from the same locals, but okay. That makes sense now.
No locals.
Yeah, you don't have a local scene anymore, right?
Sadly, COVID killed that too.
Oh boy. So then this might be a big step for you though. Do you think you're going to be entering in any more online tournaments?
Yeah. Like the first time I looked at Octagon is when Final Fantasy was like just being introduced to it, and it was kind of clunky. But my experience over the weekend was overall very positive, and I would definitely play in future events for sure.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, I think for me it was the same. Like, I don't know. I think I'll still stick to testing on real life as much as I can because that's what I find to be the most useful for me. But I do think I'll see myself in maybe an RVA in a few weeks when I have some time or my schedule clears up, and then obviously anything major like Zanarkand again for sure. I know Sergio loves these anyway. These are his bread and butter. That's where he gets all his extra stuff. All his extra.
Oh, you know me. I spend the whole day on Octagon. I love playing on Octagon.
Yeah. I hit him up earlier, like at 4 p.m. I go, and sure enough, he was already on Octagon.
Hey, in my defense, that was the first game I played since Saturday. I took a couple days off to relax from playing.
Be with the family, right? Yeah, that's good. All right, and I think before we wrap this up, I'm going to give you guys some time to, tell the people about yourselves. What decks are you going to try going forward? Like, obviously, okay, we can agree that the diversity is there, but by next week something else might shape the meta, right? And I want to know in which direction you guys are taking that. I'll start with Gessi. Like, are you going to stake to Wind Ice and really harness it, really crack it out, or what's your next deck you're making?
Well, I lean on the side of Brewer, so I always like trying new things, and after the event I just try to let's try to I try to make Lady Lilith work. She's she doesn't work as a standalone engine, so I abandoned that idea. And I looked at some of the other new cards. I was like, well, these don't. That oomph isn't there. So I'm gonna try to hone in on the ice wind and try to make that a little better, but still tweak on some of my own things on the side. That again, I haven't played paper cards in like 2 years, so there's a lot of stuff from Opus 12 to 15 that I haven't had a chance to play with at all yet. That I still want to make decks around. So I'll be doing some silly things with those.
Okay. Is Leko Hiboka gonna make it into your list? Have you tried that yet? I know we talked about it like before, but I want to know your thoughts now.
I don't think so.
Really?
Just
Okay.
the fact that the backup slot is really slow. I can tell you what our current thoughts are.
I'd love to hear them. Yeah.
Giving away spoilers.
I mean, people want to learn from you, right? They're coming to listen to this because they want to learn from you. You're the one that played this to victory, so your thoughts are just as important. Trust me.
Yeah, so we kept in Titania. She's great at pushing for wins. We're throwing in an edge for those Spire matchups. It's pretty good. He still doesn't protect against Matarasu, but the new Bahamut or the Brunhilder and stuff like that. He's great at stopping those like combo kills. The new 2-drop Kane is pretty spicy. They either need to answer it or he kind of pretty much snowballs your card advantage. He's very similar to like Pinello in that way. He just draws you a card every turn. Not as good, but it's also doing poison damage there. We threw some I don't even know how to pronounce it. Garchi Macera, the new
Yeah,
summon.
the summon. Yeah.
Bounce a 2-drop, draw, or break a 5-drop for 1, which is pretty sweet. And then we changed some of our backups. We threw in some Rems because she has on enter activate, on break activate, and then just crack her for a crystal whenever you're ready for it. So those are the changes we're playing with right now. We cut Celeste. Celeste was super unimpressive on the weekend. She needs the more dedicated 6 deck to make her party ability matter.
Right.
So we cut that. We just thought like the extra lock searcher would have been valuable, but it felt bad playing her every time. Yeah, that's most of the changes. They're all untested as of yet. Yeah, that's the direction the deck's going in right now.
Okay. And before I move it on to Sergio, you guys didn't play all week, right? During the tournament?
No, we didn't play each other. No.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I think we might need to set up an exhibition match for that one later.
I mean, if I have to kill more Sky Pirates, okay.
Oh shit!
Ooh. I'm happy to try it. You let me know, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm always on Octagon, so you know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll just log in one day and here he is.
All right, and Sergio, what about you? I know you play a lot of stuff, but Sky Pirates, or do you have anything you want to share with us in terms of what you're going to be playing next, or at least brewing for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, Sky Pirates is a pretty set list. Like, you can really only mess around with a few slots in that deck, but the core kind of like has to stay there. You know, like you can't cut Pinello and be like, oh, I'm being cheeky and I cut Pinello. Like Pinello, Kites, Vaughn, they all have to be there. And then Bismarck and Leviathan are kind of just like the best finishers in that deck. So that deck I'm not really brewing anything too crazy with. But what I'm working on now, like as you alluded to earlier, FF7 is my favorite game, like period. Not just Final Fantasy is like my favorite game ever. So I always have an FF7 deck, or I always try to have one. So right now I'm working on the Avalanche Operatives deck. Finally getting it to a place where I think it's getting good, and I think the band's like really helped the deck out a lot because unfortunately Avalanche operatives are all 7k and Stern does exactly 7, so he never lets anyone attack. So now I think the deck's in a much better place. Other than that, I'm still messing around with some of the new Opus 15 stuff. I really like the new Shiva tribal idea. So I've been doing that with the new Terra, and that deck's actually really cool. I think I'm close on it. I just need to rearrange a few more cards, and I might have it ready to go.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to be sticking to Warriors of Light for a little while. Hoping to solve all of the problems that I keep running into over and over again. And then Water for sure, as always. So it's very, again, since already thinking about it, we're all on going down different paths in terms of deck building. So I'm assuming everyone is going to be like that. So I'm excited to see a very fresh meta coming for Opus 15 season, and hopefully a competitive season, right? We can all hope for that.
Hope, pray, light a candle, do whatever you can that we get a competitive season.
All right, so let me. What was that?
I said I missed them.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I think
competitive seasons.
Yeah, I miss driving out there for 3 hours in one day, and then playing a tournament, and then driving back and getting home at like 1 a.m., 3 a.m. So let me go ahead and give you guys your own time here, Gessi. Before we say goodbye, you want to give any shout outs or plug yourself here for everyone to follow you?
Yikes. Well, shout out to Shane for the deck list and for giving me feedback after every one of my games when I told him how I screwed up.
He's your hitting coach.
Shout outs.
He's your hitting coach in your corner. I love it.
Exactly. He's my corner man.
Yeah.
Shout outs. I don't really want to advertise my Twitter, but you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Harry_dwarf, where I stream retro games or do some pixel art or miscellaneous things. What they call a variety streamer. But it's just one of my many hobbies.
Can we expect Final Fantasy streaming now?
Well, maybe.
There you go. I'll leave this.
I did record all of my matches. I was gonna stream it, but I thought maybe that wouldn't be a great idea. but I may stream them in the future.
Well, I'm definitely going to leave a link to his Twitch in the description for everyone, if anyone wants to swing by there and support Gessi there. Sergio, what about you? Free plugs, man.
Oh, man.
and obviously your shout-outs.
If you need symbols, not from Opus 15, please check out my website, TCG Titans.com. The Opus 15 hit me hard. We have none. I had to buy singles for this set, so anything before that, though, we got you.
I have 2 boxes coming in the mail if you want to buy.
I might have to. I had to get my 18 packs that I got coming and start cracking them so I can restock my website. And then shout outs to everybody who tested with me. So you tested with me, John, so shout out to you. Shout out to Andy, the 2 GOs. All the guys at Locals, these guys, they're very, very serious competitors. There was many games that I played on the weekend that felt simple compared to the games that we play at Locals. These guys put a lot of work into the game every week, and it shows.
Yeah, ain't it the truth? Well, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and thank you everyone for listening. I'm Emo Tempest. This is the Triple Triad podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Say goodbye.
Adios, muchachos.
but do you normally work in the evenings?
Yeah, straight all the way to usually 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah, he's a stripper.
The days I get off early are the days the days I get off early are the days I stream.
Comes home covered in glitter.
The only
That's when we do the podcast instead of the videos.
put food on the table.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.